are 15 days away from the start of the 2025 MotoGP season, and if you're not ready for the start in Thailand in just over 2 weeks, then time is very much against you. Welcome to After the Flag, the final After the Flag of pre-season testing 2025. One welcome to Buriram. My name is Lewis Suddaby. We'll be joined as we go through the show by Jack Appleyard, Kiko Giles and Elliot York, but this is very much it. Less than 30 minutes remain before all the talking stops and we begin to look ahead to the new season, when the next time we see bikes on track, it will be for real. It will be for the first competitive action of the season, Free Practice 1 for the Thai Grand Prix in Buriram, here on the final Friday of February. One welcome to you. Joining me over the course of the show, as he has throughout pre-season testing, is Jack Appleyard, who is already down in pit lane for us. And Jack, we've been asking questions throughout pre-season testing. We are starting on this final day to have some concrete answers.
We are indeed. We're going to the show.
Yes, as you can see there from my grimace there, we had a little problem with the connection with Jack down in pit lane. We'll hopefully be able to pick things up again with him very, very shortly. We can, though, very certainly connect to the boys back in Barcelona who've been joining us throughout. Elliot York and Kiko Giles are standing by, and they've got plenty of data to pour over. Guys, over to you.
Thanks, Lewis. We'll try not to go on pause. I'm sure many people would like us to, though. However, I can't wait. Buriram is not far away. Kiko Giles here with a G. Elliot York next to me, not the G. We have got so much to talk through. We've been working up here to try and get race sims down, average lap times down. We've got something really special coming up later in the show about all the manufacturers. What a day in Buriram, and Marc Marquez, where do we start? He is on fire.
That racing from Mark, we're going to go into it in more depth a little bit later on. He did it about 45 minutes ago. We looked through the lap times, we were like, wow, that is seriously quick. So we're going to show you that later on. Sprint sims are plenty, and race sims as well. This is what we were looking forward to. The final day, get to see race sims, sprint sims, qualifying time attacks as well, early on in the day and potentially going on now. This is what we're waiting for. And then, as Lewis said, 15 days away from the Thai GP. I can't wait. It's been a great day, a great pre-season, but I'm ready to get racing now.
Testing's one thing, racing's another.
Exactly,
2 weeks ago until we're in Thailand. We are actually in Thailand now, so we don't have to go very far. And talking of Thailand, let's get back to Buriram, because I'm sure Jack Appleyard is waiting somewhere. Lewis, over to you.
Yeah, it's not just the riders and the teams out there that are doing pre-season testing. We're still testing here at the circuit as well, and we can have a second crack at it now and heading down to pit lane, where Jack Appleyard is waiting for us to set the scene as we count down on this final day of testing. Jack.
Yes, hopefully this works second time around, but as you say, the sun's setting. What a magnificent view it is here at the Chang International Circuit. As you say, so many questions we had coming into this test, and it looks as though we've got quite a few answers coming into it. The good news is, from every manufacturer's standpoint, is that they've got riders that can compete this year, whether it's Ducati and Marc's obvious pace today, whether it be Yamaha and the progress that they've shown. Fabio Quartararo looks ready to compete this year. Joan Mir seriously impresses for Honda. Marco Bezzecchi, for me, my standout performer of pre-season. He's still burning the midnight oil, out working for Aprilia now. He's been magnificent for the Wily factory, and when it comes to KTM, Pedro Acosta, as ever, has got the bit between his teeth. Have to say, guys, this 2025 campaign, we build it as being a legacy-defining year. It's going to be as close as ever. After 5 days of pre-season testing, that looks to be the case.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jack. You're right to pinpoint the name Marco Bezzecchi there, because just as you were speaking, he set his fastest lap of the test so far, 1:29 flat. He has been one of the standout riders of this two-day test in Thailand. Make no mistake about that. Well, throughout the last couple of days, and it's a story that really began to surface in the latter stages of the Sepang test, was what engine Ducati were going to go with for the start of this season. We began to hear murmurs back in Malaysia that the decision wasn't as clear-cut as perhaps we might have expected over the winter. you'd assume that they'd want to go with their 2025 engine. The waters have become muddier over the course of the 5 days of testing, and Ducati made their decision this morning. It's not just the engine, incidentally, that they're unsure of. Chassis and aero also all in the mix. We caught up with the team manager earlier on, the guy who's in the best position to tell us exactly what Ducati are running in 2025. Jack Appleyard spoke to their team manager, Davide Tardozzi.
Well, Davide, the end of an eventful pre-season for Ducati. First question, the important one, has the decision been made on which engine you will use this year?
Yeah, it has been taken, and the engine for the 2025 and 26 season will be the 24. So as I said already yesterday, Gigi doesn't want to take any risk. It will be a big effort for the guys at home to build up engines for other three riders for the first race. But if Gigi has taken this decision, I think that we will have those engines.
Pecco confirmed yesterday that the new chassis that he tried in Barcelona won't be on the bike for the start of the year. There's been minimal laps done on the new aero package, although I did see Mark out on it today. So is there the possibility that it's the 24 engine, 24 chassis and 24 aero package for the start of the year?
It's a real possibility. I think that the final decision on fairing and chassis will be taken tonight, but it's a real possibility, and I think that we will postpone, having freezed the engine, we will postpone to the test of Jerez the other news that we have here and that we would like to test again.
If that is true, then the big question is, what is new on the GP25?
There are some things that belongs to electronics and suspension. That's the 25 parts that are on the bike right now.
With regards to the decision on the 24 engine, you obviously have to supply those engines now to 6 bikes. Will there be enough engines for all 6 24 engine supplied machines?
Yeah, as I said, it will be a big effort for the guys to build up those engines, but if we decide to do this, it will be possible. But anyway, I think that 2024 bikes is very difficult to improve. So we try hard, but finally we don't found what we thought, and now we take the safer decision is possible for the riders.
I think there's a feeling that Ducati are going to stand still in 2025 potentially with the decisions that have been made. As a result, do you feel that your rivals might be closer this year and putting you under more pressure?
Yeah, it's obvious that there are riders like Alex and Morbidelli, especially. We'll see what Dij will be as body situation, but in the end, I guess that our strong point was that it will be that the satellite team are really helpful and very fast. So I think that in the end we have to compete against other brands and not against ourselves. And
you mentioned the other brands, for Aprilia, for KTM, for Yamaha, with Ducati standing still. Are you vulnerable?
Yeah, I'm happy because it looks that the rules works. It looks that having give concessions to the brand that has difficulties like Yamaha or other like Honda. It works. I think that Dorna did a good decision. So we saw that Fabio is growing and Acosta is there, and I'm very happy for Marco Bezzecchi because Marco did a good job today and waiting for the world champion.
Of course, we say all of this about Ducati being vulnerable, Ducati standing still, but I think everyone still expects that you guys will be competing for victories every week. Just looking at the time sheets at the moment, Mark has been very competitive, Pecco as well. So how much confidence is there within the squads that you will be fighting for the World Championship?
I am absolutely confident our riders will be really competitive every race for the championship. But as I said all the winter, when everybody was already saying that we already win the title, I know our opponents, and they are very good. They have good riders, and they have good engineers, and many of them are from Ducati. So I think that we have not to undervalue them, and that it will be some races that we will not win, and we have to collect points, because the championship is more important than winning every race.
Thank you, Davide.
Thank
Good
you.
luck this year.
Thank you.
So there we go, those are the words of Davide Tardozzi earlier on, and as we'd predicted throughout pre-season, Ducati in the end, given the fact that Pecco Bagnaia is out now with the 2024 aerodynamics package, will be opted in 2025 to go with the 2024 engine, the 2024 chassis, the 2024 aerodynamics package. And as I put to Davide, this is the first time in a very long time that the Bologna factory, who've been the pinnacle of MotoGP for so long now, are standing still and do present an opportunity to their rivals to get closer and to try and make life more difficult for them. In terms of the two riders in this box, Pecco Bagnaia out there working at the moment, which tells its own story of the fact that the Italian, the former world champion, is far from happy with how his Buriram test has gone. He still feels that he needs to maximise the final 19 minutes of this test to be able to close the gap to Marc Marquez, who, I have to say, at this current moment, the question is not, will Marc Marquez win the opening round of the year here in Buriram? The question is, by how many seconds? Speaking to someone within the Ducati camp earlier, when asked for comment on his race simulation, he described it as a knife between the heart for not only everyone up and down pit lane, but potentially for his teammates as well. Davide Tardozzi mentioning Marco Bezzecchi and the work that he's done and how impressive he's been. Marc Marquez over 23 laps compared to Bez's 13-lap sprint was faster. That's with a full fuel tank. That is with laps to do the duration as well. It was mind-blowing, the pace that Marc Marquez was able to do. So despite the fact that they're standing still and there is an opportunity there, let's not get around that fact, still, hand on heart, I am 100% confident that the World Championship will return to the red box in 2025.
Yeah, it almost brings to mind, Jack, the question you asked earlier to Davide Tardozzi. What is new on the GP25 this year? Well, what's new is Marc Marquez on board that motorcycle, and that might ultimately be a key upgrade that Ducati might not have made to their motorcycle, but to their riding roster for the season. Well, of course, Ducati will be hoping to have the front of the grid all to themselves through the year. The chasing pack will be hoping to ensure that's not the case. To take a close look at what we can expect through the year, we can head back to HQ now in Barcelona and rejoin Elliot York and Kiko Giles. Guys, over to you.
Thanks, Lewis. Yeah, lots to talk about in terms of Ducati and that race simulation. We'll be more on that a little bit later on. Now, El, let's look at Aprilia, because what a pre-season it's been in so many different ways for them. No Jorge Martin after 13 laps. Raul Fernandez out of Sepang. Ayagura new on the bike. They've had to draft in Lorenzo Savadori. Aprilia have not had it easy. But as we're about to see, right on cue, this was probably Aprilia's worst track of the year. I would say one of their worst tracks. Of them, yeah. Lots of heat, not something that the Aprilia has been good at. Hard stopping, hard acceleration. But Marco Bezzecchi seems to have turned it around. Look at this. So the previous Aprilia best was 29.4. Their best lap last year, this went backwards. That was from 23, that top time. This was 2024, 6.28. And already under that, and we're in testing.
Exactly, and the workload, Jack mentioned it as well, that Marco Bezzecchi's had to take on because the world champion Jorge Martin got injured after
a lot of work.
14 laps. Bezzecchi said in Sepang that it was such a strange feeling. It's the first time he's had to develop a MotoGP bike since he moved into the class with VR46. He's been on an independent team Ducati, so he's just had to work on settings and getting as comfy and as quick as possible. But he's been lumped with all of Jorge Martin's workload, or most of it anyway. Savadori would have picked some up as well. But for Bezzecchi to be going quicker pretty much straight away this morning than Aprilia's previous best time in Buriram signals a great job. Well done. He's currently fastest as well in this session as well. He's not too far off Marc Marquez's fastest time. Bezzecchi in this test so far. So a great job from the Italian. I think he has gone under the radar up till this point, up till day 2 in Buriram. He's gone under the radar. He's been methodically working away, had a heap of stuff to test and do in Sepang. But now they're reaping the rewards. And I think Jorge Martin will be sat at home thinking, okay, Bez is going very well on the bike I'm going to be riding. That'll give Martin some great confidence heading into round 1.
He's been so under the radar that actually this graphic is already out of date because
well, exactly, yeah,
Bezzecchi has actually already done a 29.060 at the moment. So there's a lot of time left in the locker, I'm sure, for Aprilia. Question coming in, how impressive has Marco Bezzecchi been for you guys? Well, Jack Appleyard said rider of the pre-season test. Not sure about that because for me, Marc Marquez has been absolutely sensational. But Bezzecchi, given how difficult it is, he's had to learn a new bike, lead the development of it, come out of the shadow of Jorge Martin, deal with everything that's new, try and work a package out. It has been far from straightforward. And he's topping the last section before we go racing.
I don't normally agree with Jack, but I probably do agree with him on this one. You say Marc Marquez agreed that he has been super impressive, but I think we all expected Marc to be right at the summit of the time sheets.
Bezzecchi is he's overreaching what we anticipated.
Yeah, and especially given the circumstances that he's been put under with Martin injuring himself on day 1 in Sepang. So for me, Bezzecchi has been the guy I think we're going to be talking about a lot today and after pre-season, looking at it and thinking, great job, well done.
Do you think Bezzecchi can be on the podium, top 5? What were you expecting round 1?
I would say, looking at the race sims, the sprint sim he did was pretty impressive. I think he's going to be challenging for the podium for sure. As Jack said, I think at this moment in time, Marc Marquez is the clear favourite to grab all the headlines at round 1 in a couple of weeks' time. But Bez has been really impressive and he's showing good one-lap pace and sprint pace as well. So he's going to be in the podium fight for sure, I'd say.
Well, who better to ask than the man himself? It's over to Marco Bezzecchi, who spoke to us a little bit early on. Let's get all the words from the horse's mouth.
I'm happy, of course. We were able to finally try 2 time attacks in a row, similar as we did in Sepang. And yeah, can't complain. I mean, still, I have to say that the bike is working well, but still in the time attacks, my riding is not enough good for the Aprilia still. I need to adapt better, especially to the brakings, because the bike is a bit more nervous with new tires, so I have to be more precise, let's say. This was the main issue. In fact, I made some small mistakes. Anyway, happy because the lap time was good and I made it after a couple of laps because of the mistakes. So yeah, overall can't complain.
Looking more generally at the 5 days, I think it would have been very easy for any rider becoming a factory rider for the first time, and in the first hour their new teammate, the world champion, goes out injured to maybe lose the focus and for things to become just a little bit too much. But as you've said, you've progressed every day, getting to a point where I'm sure you feel ready for round 1. Looking at pre-season as a whole, how happy are you with how things have gone?
Yeah, well, was a tough day, the first one in Sepang for all of us, for Jorge especially, because of the injury, but for me, for the team, and yeah, was a shame. So just I tried my best. I tried to work in the best way possible. Of course, for me was everything new, was a new experience, so I didn't really know what to do at the beginning. But fortunately, the people around me and the whole factory really put a lot of trust in my riding and in my comments, and this gave me positive sensations, positive vibes. And then through the days I saw that I was improving, so this also increased a bit the confidence. Let's say that we have to understand that it's not going to be easy overall through all the season, but with this mood everything can be at least positive, because we can learn something. So let's see today afternoon first of all, and then finally we start racing, because testing is too boring.
We wouldn't go along with that. We wouldn't say testing is completely boring, but certainly the racing in a couple of weeks' time will hopefully be more exciting than the testing. Marco Bezzecchi quicker too quick even for our graphics department there, as his personal best lap time came in after we prepared that comparison of how he'd gone previously and how Aprilia had done prior to today. Well, Jack Appleyard is standing by once again in pit lane for us. And Jack, you touted Marco earlier on as one of your stars of this Buriram test. From an Aprilia point of view generally, could they have expected much more from this test, given that they're still without their reigning world champion?
I mean, it all comes onto the shoulders of Marco and the job he's done, and that's why I said he's not one of but the standout rider for me throughout pre-season. And the question I put to him there, I said, as a young rider moving into the factory for the very first time, to have the world champion as your teammate, and after 14 laps, suddenly all of the weight, all of the expectation, all of the pressure is put on your shoulders. Your workload doubles in an instant in an already high-pressure environment where suddenly the expectations are greater than they ever have been before. And I think there was a misconception now of Marco coming into this year that his riding ability was all natural talent. He just did everything on instinct, but it's far from that. The biggest word that I get from the Aprilia guys when I speak to them is feedback. Marco's ability to be so precise with his feedback, to just feel the finest of details and provides the feedback that they need to be able to progress this motorcycle. And Jorge Martin will return in Buriram on a motorcycle that I think is capable of fighting potentially for a podium, all thanks to the work of his new teammate, Marco Bezzecchi. Jorge Martin, as the world champion, might have thought he was going to be the #1 rider this year, but I think what we've seen throughout pre-season is that Bez is going to be one to watch. He's going to be competitive here at a circuit, as we've said, that has been Aprilia's kryptonite over the past couple of years, but that just proves the advancements that they've been able to make in those key areas, most notably hard straight line braking. But then let's not forget that round 2, we head to a place which is far from Aprilia's kryptonite, Argentina, a place they love, a place they've been successful at, a place that Marco Bezzecchi has been successful at. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people in this garage that are already excited about a trip to Argentina in around a month's time, because I think that could be a weekend where we see Bez fully return back to his best. Victory there isn't out of the question, I don't think.
Yeah, as you say, Jack, what a difference a week makes following the Sepang test, where Aprilia would have been well within their rights to feel a little bit dejected about how their pre-season was going. Both Ralph Fernandez and Jorge Martin injured. Fernandez back in testing here. Jorge Martin on the mend. And of course, Marco Bezzecchi putting in one of the standout performances of this test so far. But he's not the only Aprilia rider that's really caught the eye, no pun intended, over these last 2 days, because the Moto2 world champion has already shown that he's very much at home with MotoGP. Let's get the thoughts at the end of the final day of testing from the rookie at Trackhouse, Aigura.
I think we can be happy about the morning session today. Well, a lot of praises we improved from the yesterday, and I guess we are a little bit more like a time attack mode compared to the other riders. But anyway, position is a position, so I think, yeah, as I said, we can be happy with the performance of this morning, and there is still a lot of gap to the top guys, so we'll keep walking.
Now, with all testing almost done, there's just left this afternoon. Do you think your adaptation to the MotoGP bike is 100% complete now?
It's never been 100, so what I can say is just I'm on my way. So, as I said before, we'll keep walking.
How ready are you for the first race in Thailand?
I don't really know, to be honest, where I am and which situation we are right now, and I don't really know till it starts. So yeah, just like I said, always I just want to give my 100%, and after first race we see a better picture, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, don't judge that book by its cover. Aigura is so chilled, so relaxed, taking everything in his stride ahead of his rookie MotoGP season. But boy, is he quick. As you can see, left-hand side of your screens, he's just outside the top 10 at the moment, proving that it was certainly no fluke that he was as quick as he was in Sepang, benefiting from that extra track time from the shakedown. He's been right on the pace here in Buriram 2, the circuit, of course, where he won the Moto2 World Championship last year. Let's set our attentions to KTM, though, who have been something of a mystery at times during pre-season testing. That's generally the KTM way, really. And, of course, they've got 2 new signings for this season, both within the Tech 3 squad. And Bastianini, who's found that going tough at times over this winter period. And Maverick Vinales, who had some interesting comments when he spoke to the media yesterday.
It's a matter of giving time and believe in the progress. It will for sure coming one day, like a click. So we need to keep, we need to insist, to keep improving and adapting to the bike. Right now, for sure, we would like to be in another position, but we need to understand more and more the bike. So this takes time. It's not easy.
Yeah, I also caught up with Maverick Vinales after testing yesterday, and he was saying a very similar message. He's been at pains to point out that he needs to understand that KTM, particularly under braking, it brakes like no other bike in MotoGP, or certainly no other bike that Maverick Vinales has previously ridden, and that will take some time to adjust to. Expect the best of Maverick Vinales and Enea Bastianini the longer the season goes on. Well, Pedro Acosta has certainly been setting fast lap times early in the 2 days, although as we've seen throughout pre-season testing, he's been fast when he's still been on the racetrack. He's had 1 or 2 crashes over the course of the testing period. Well, Jack Aboyardi is down in pit lane for us once again. Is it difficult to really understand where KTM are as we go into the new season, or do we have a firmer picture now?
No, for me, Lewis, I agree wholeheartedly with you. As we've seen throughout various pre-season campaigns, KTM often have so many items to try. We don't really know what their full package and, as a result, their full potential is until we get to the opening round of the year. Who could forget, what was it, a couple of years now, when we were writing off KTM's chances, and then Jack Miller rocked up and at the opening round of the year finished the opening day fastest. You'd have got long odds on that. However, one thing that I do think is clear down at KTM is the fact that their strengths are still their strengths and their weaknesses are still their weaknesses. The big weakness is A, drive grip, and B, rear chatter. The fact that they're still playing about now with this new rear seat unit, as they have done, they've flip-flopped all throughout this test and in Sepang as well, which tells you the picture that they still haven't found too many answers. My concern for Pedro Acosta going into this year is that his desire to win, his appetite for success is going to far outreach what the potential of the bike is. Looking down at Tech 3, as we see Enea Bastianini, unsurprisingly, doing laps very, very late on indeed. Yesterday, when he spoke to the Italian media, he uttered the words, "I don't think my riding style is suited to the KTM." After just 4 days of pre-season, for him to be saying that, you get the impression it's going to be a very, very long year ahead for Enea Bastianini. For Maverick Vinales, meanwhile, on the other side of the box, as you can see, debrief still ongoing here for the Spaniard. We know how good he is under braking. If he can get that right, if he can find the way to make this very, very particular, very unique motorcycle and get the most out of it in that area, which is one of its strengths, then I think Maverick can arrive. But it is going to take time because this bike is so peculiar and it takes a very, very different riding style indeed to get the maximum from it. So going into the season opener here in Thailand, we look at Ducati, we know where they're at. We look at Aprilia, progress has been made. For me, down at KTM, the walkers are a little bit more murky, it's a little bit more grey to understand just where they're at this current moment.
Yeah, we'll just have to patiently wait until the final day of February, the 28th of February, practice Friday afternoon. That is when all the cards will be placed on the table and you will know how fast everyone is. And as Jack rightly pointed out, that was when Jack Miller shocked us all in Portimao a couple of years ago by breaking the lap record on that opening Friday of the season after KTM had been written off prior to that. Well, of course, there's been plenty of change over the winter for KTM. A whole new rider lineup at Tech 3, a very similar livery to the factory team, which now includes Pedro Acosta moving across from Tech 3 to join Brad Binder, and a new face at the top as well. You might know him very well if you follow Moto2 and Moto3. He's led their squad to plenty of success, and he's hoping to do the same to their MotoGP squad. It's Aki Aya.
At the end of pre-season overall, how do you reflect on where KTM are at?
It was very positive to be here in Buriram. Of course, after last week in Sepang, let's say that we were focusing more for the, let's say, general testing and not the final performance. And of course, here was time to turn a little bit more for the, let's say, the final performance and final setup side. And we are quite happy.
The factory riders in Pedro and Brad, where do you feel they are at going into the opening round of the year? Is there optimism that they can compete even from round one?
It's always the race when we really measure it and when you can really measure it. And I personally, my method or the style is normally that not even focusing too much for this. Every day we try to improve, we try to be better and better, and measuring time then it's in the races.
For Enea and Maverick, it hasn't been the easiest of pre-seasons. Their adaptation period has taken some time. Do you feel that steps have been made over the last 2 days?
Of course, it's normal that takes some time, and same time when you try to adapt for the new package and the new crew and everything, you need to test some items, so it's not the easiest thing, but somehow we needed to make compromise between those things. And I feel especially here now, and especially today, I see that both are getting more confidence with the package, and they will be there as well.
So a note of confidence from Aki Ayo, very typically Finnish in that it's very, very difficult to read truly how he feels by his interviews. But as mentioned moments ago, he knows how to put a winning team together. Well, the checker flag is out, and that is officially that. Pre-season testing is over. The next time we see motorcycles on track competitively after these practice starts have been concluded, it will be the first free practice session, February the 28th, free practice 1 for the Thai Grand Prix, round 1 of 2025. And that is the rider who goes into that first round as the favourite, having topped both days of this pre-season test in Thailand. Let's show you exactly how this Buriram test has finished. Overall, it was Marc Marquez who set the sole 128 of this pre-season test in Buriram, 128.8 for the 6-time MotoGP World Champion. There he is, getting ready to head out for his practice start. The number 93 really has shown his class over the course of the last 2 days and sent a very strong message to the rest of the MotoGP field as to how strong he's going to be. Here's how strong he was then on the combined standings. It was Marquez 1-2 with Marc ahead of Alex, Marco Bezzecchi a standout third for Aprilia from Pedro Acosta. Pecco Bagnaia lifted himself up to 5th late on ahead of Joan Mir, putting a Honda in the top 6, the fastest they've ever been here in Buriram. Frankie Morbidelli 7th from Fabio Quartararo, slightly better day today than he had yesterday, and as you see there, just missing out on the top 10 was Ai Ogura. Brad Binder 12th for KTM from Ralph Fernandez, back in action and been able to complete 2 full days of testing here. Luca Marini and Enea Bastianini, the Italians, 14th and 15th. Enea Bastianini with more questions than answers, you feel, going in to the first race. Joan Zarco 16th from Alex Rins and Fermin Aldeguer, whose practice starts remain something he needs to work on. Miguel Oliveira, Somkhat Chantra ahead of his home Grand Prix on debut in a couple of weeks. And Lorenzo Savadori, 21st, of course, he's been in for Jorge Martin at this test. So that is that. Pre-season testing done and dusted. Jack Appleyard joined me once again in the studio as we get ready to look at some practice starts. And I guess as we reflect on the 2 days of testing here and the 5 days of testing we've seen overall, whilst Ducati might have stood still from a technical point of view, it certainly feels heading into the first race as if the colour is still red.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was going to have to take something remarkable for us to go into the start of the season as once again, Ducati, the factory boys in particular, are just unable to get that bike off the line. That's been another common theme throughout pre-season, the huge difficulties that both Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez are having to get it off the line. Right now, if I was to predict how the opening race of the year is going to go, it would be that Marc Marquez starts from pole position, is 8th at the end of the first lap, but comes through to win. I mean, it is obvious how many issues they're having. Bagnaia, whether it's the rear wheel spinning up, whether it's the front wheel going up skywards, it is a huge, huge problem problem that they've had throughout the course of pre-season, and this on the final day doesn't look like they're close to any answers of how best to get that GP25 off the line.
Yeah, if you look on the starting grid, you might see one or two black lines on the grid. The majority of those are from factory Ducatis that have been left on that grid, be it Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia. Yesterday, when we were watching some of those practice starts, Pecco Bagnaia made a practice start that was so poor that he gave himself a rather sarcastic thumbs up as it all went wrong. In terms of getting a bike off the line, that KTM of Brad Binder that we saw still looks the class of the field.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's how it's done. I mean, how planted was that KTM of Brad Binder? They've always been a step ahead of everybody on the grid in terms of their starts, and that looks like being the case once again this year.
So looking at the testing that we've seen overall, Ducati still very much with an edge. One question you put to Davide Taurodzi there, a story that might be worth following as we go through the season, is how many engines they've got. They've got now essentially 6 bikes on the grid, assuming Fabio Di Giannantonio goes the same route as Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia, and at the moment we've got no reason to suspect that he won't, where rather than supplying 3 motorcycles with GP25 engines, they're essentially going to have 6 GP24 engined bikes on their fleet this year.
It's going to be a story that we'll have to keep a very close eye on, because I am absolutely assured of the fact that if there are some serious engine difficulties for whatever reason for any of the GP24s over the start of the year, I don't think there's going to be that many spares going around, because the Bologna factory have been preparing for half of the field to have 2024 packages and half of the field to have this 2025 package that they thought they'd made enough changes from Barcelona to Sepang to be able to fit Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia and Fabio Di Giannantonio's machine. So the fact that they've had to make this change very late only gives them a very short turnaround window to now supply 6 machines with the same engine. I think it's going to have to be a story that we watch. Obviously, the manufacturers, the engineers are very, very clever when it comes to managing the mileage of the engines, and I think even more so now they will be cautiously watching the mileage of the Ducati engines to make sure they don't get themselves into any difficulties, as, true to form, Marc Marquez has yet another challenge getting that thing off the line.
Yeah, and keeping that front wheel down on his way down to turn number 1. You can see that KTM, absolutely no problems with that, and it sits so low as they get that motorcycle off the line. It is practically dragging along the surface like a dragster. That was one of the Trackhouse Aprilias, looked like Raul Fernandez getting himself off the line. Good to see that he's got plenty of running underneath him. Here's another look at Marc Marquez. Luca Marini disappears off in his wake, and once again you can see there, front wheel off the ground once, twice, 3 times, and of course while the front wheel's off the ground it's not propelling you forwards.
No, that's the whole thing. I mean, the idea of the launch devices is to try and make sure that those wheels stay line astern, planted to the ground, to maximise your ability to drive towards the opening corner. Marc Marquez doing that every half a second is not helping him at all, and I have to say it's uncommon for a Ducati to be like that, because we saw throughout pretty much the entirety of 2024 that they were able to take the whole shot because the start device was so strong. So clearly they've tried to make some tweaks to improve it, maybe to catch up to KTM, and again, potentially another 25 item that has taken them in the wrong direction.
We also saw earlier on Fermin Aldeguer trying to put behind him what happened on his Wednesday practice starts, where he almost hit the pit wall. Didn't go much better, it has to be said, when Fermin Aldeguer tried to get that Ducati GP24 off the line. Wasn't quite as exaggerated as yesterday, but it wasn't exactly a whole heap better. That will certainly be one doubt in Fermin's mind as he gets ready for his MotoGP debut in a couple of weeks' time. Well, let's continue our look ahead to what is a mouth-watering 2025 season. We can do that now in the company of Elliot York and Kiko Giles back at HQ. Kiko, over to you.
Thank you very much, Lewis. We are absolutely waiting here in Barcelona to get first to Buriram, because I can't wait for the season to start. But secondly, let's get stuck in now. We've got the times coming up on this screen in just a moment. Here they are. Now, let me just break it down for you very, very quickly. Not as quick as Marc Marquez. That was rapid. These are the average lap times. Firstly, let's give you the big picture. These are the average lap times of... in the case of Marc Marquez, of a full GP simulation, 23 laps. It's 2 or 3 shy of what the race distance is. The others, these are all sprint simulations. Now, let's just go through it. Look at how quick Marc was. This is the fastest rider of the test. Marc Marquez, 30.361. That was the average lap time of a 23-lap run. This is Marco Bezzecchi for Aprilia, 30.0, but that was a sprint. Same for Joan Mir, who was very, very impressive. It's got to be said there, 30.2. Honda ahead of Yamaha, 30.361, and Binder on a 30.077. I think it should be a 31.077, but take KTM with a small pinch of salt anyway, because Pedro Acosta went faster yesterday. But let's talk about Ducati. Let's talk about Marquez. We were both sat down waiting for the PDF to come to our email inbox. And when we saw just how much quicker and how much more comfortable it looked, we could not believe. It's about that lap time over 23 laps is about a second a lap quicker than what Jorge Martin managed to do 2 years ago. The last dry race in Thailand.
Yeah, pretty incredible. I mean, we couldn't obviously compare it to last year because it was a wet race, which is unfortunate. That would have been much more closely sort of looked at between that and last year, but we had to go back to 2023, which was obviously Jorge Martin's victory. But over 22 laps in 2023, that lap time there is 26 seconds quicker over 22 laps than Martin did in his race win in 2023. Okay, we're a year and a half onwards from that. Ducati have obviously made a fantastic bike in the GP24. This is sort of a GP24 mixed with some upgrades with the GP25. But this average lap time was absolutely stunning. Bezzecchi's was quicker, but that was only half race distance.
Which is the remarkable thing.
Which is the remarkable thing. This is an absolute gauntlet laid down by Marc Marquez. Make no question about it. Jack obviously mentioned it in pit lane as well. The vibes from Ducati, especially in Marc's camp, are very, very promising. That everyone is going to look at that, especially Pekka Bagnaia, and think, whoa. Okay, we have some serious work to do at the Thai GP.
We've actually, on why we selected what riders, we selected the rider that was already fastest in the classification. So at the time it was Binder. Pedro Acosta moved forward, but it wasn't actually, Acosta wasn't doing a sprint simulation. We now have Honda. Have they made a genuine step, seeing as they tested here privately? Wow, good point, whoever sent that in. You've got to say, yes, they came here with a good base testing, but they were very coy on giving too much information to their riders.
Yeah, they obviously did test here with Alessio Spargaro and Taka Nakagami, the two test riders, just before the Sepang test. So yes, they have data. They obviously have data from last year, of course, the same as everyone else. But Mir said they've definitely made a step. The bike is much more rideable than it was before. Yes, they're still lacking rear grip out of the corner. Acceleration and top speed, because of the lack of rear grip, is where they're missing a lot still. But Marini said it as well. They're making steps forward. Not giant leaps like we saw from Yamaha in Sepang, although that's been sort of squashed slightly in Buriram. But this rider here, Mir, he's pretty pleased. I mean, to hear that they're making progress, he's happy. The bike is much more rideable. Okay, it's slow progress, but it's steady progress.
It's progress.
At least it's steps forward. So a happy Mir and Marini. Obviously, let's hear from Zarco and Chantra in more detail. Chantra obviously different. He's a rookie. But yes, they're making steps forward. I mean, it's not going to be anything miraculous in the first sort of 6 months of the year anyway. But after the first 6 months in the second half of the season, who knows where Honda can be. Hopefully, from a neutral's point of view, I'm sure everyone wants to see as many manufacturers at the top as possible, potentially pushing for top sixes on a Sunday, top tens definitely. It's good signs of progress. Slow, but good going.
They've had the private test here in Buriram. They've had the shakedown test over in Sepang. They've had the 3 days at Sepang. They've had 2 more days here. What else can we talk about? Well, we've actually got Alberto Puig coming up very, very soon. I think he's ready over in Buriram now. So let's get ready to head over to Thailand and get the lowdown from inside the Honda camp. It's over to Thailand. It's over to Alberto Puig.
We have to see it globally, Sepang and here. I mean, at least we know what we will start with. We have a clear identification of what type of bike we will use. And also it's clear, we also understand exactly where we are missing. So at least we know where we are. Joan was struggling really a little bit last year and the year before with the connection of the engine. So yeah, we are working on it and some guys don't feel it so much. And in some riders can affect a lot your riding style. And in Joan's case was like this. So now, on his comments, probably he's referring to this, no? That he can, friendly means that he can understand better the way to accelerate, how the throttle is connecting with him. I mean, when he's, so I think this is why he's like more in a, let's say, in a motivational mood and more happy.
Both Joanna and Luca have said that they feel that the engine is still the key area where they feel that most improvement can be made. Do you know, is there a timeline at all of when the next update on the engine might come throughout the year?
Not really, but we only know, I mean, as I told you before, we identify our missing points, and this is one of them. We need to improve the engine, and in Japan they are really working on it.
And just finally, this of course the first pre-season with Romano in his new role. How have things changed in a short space of time with Romano's introduction to the team?
At the moment, I mean, he just arrived. I mean, you cannot expect big things in such a short time, no? But well, he's taking care of this, and yeah, finally he will follow up closely the progress, and finally it's his area. You know, he's going to be responsible in Europe for this, and we hope and expect that he can help us and bring a different kind of technology or knowledge that they are using currently in Europe. No?
Are you satisfied with the progress that Honda has made throughout pre-season over the winter months?
Well, I think in racing you can never be satisfied if you are not winning. So when we win, we will be very satisfied.
So it's clear that they still have work to do, but the small baby steps in the right direction are being taken by Honda. Just how much progress are Yamaha making, though? We thought they were in really good shape at the end of the Sepang test. What kind of shape are they in after 2 days here in Buriram? We can head live now to join Jack Appleyard, who is with the 2021 World Champion, Fabio Quartararo. Jack.
Fabio, pre-season comes to an end. The end of what's been, I imagine, an up and down pre-season with a lot of headlines in regards to Yamaha. How satisfied are you overall?
Yes, I think that we have made a small step forward compared to last year. This test was a bit complicated for myself. I was struggling. Like yesterday, front tires was not our thing during these 2 days. So we have to figure out and try for the race to improve. But I think that by our riding, we are doing quite well. So hopefully we can make a step, especially on the front feeling. That is our strong point for the race.
Yeah, you mentioned yesterday that regardless of which compound you used, you weren't able to get any kind of feeling. Did you make any progress at all today?
No, at the end was the same. Struggling a lot with both tires. That, like I said, usually I'm always feeling super strong on the front. Sometimes you prefer one tire than the others, but today and yesterday I was not able to really find a feeling with both. So let's see if during the race weekend the grip is a little bit higher or something that can maybe help us, but not really happy about the feeling on the front.
What do you think changed then from now to when we were last here just a few months ago, that suddenly that front feeling isn't there?
No, nothing really crazy, but I think that condition, temperature, but I have no idea why, because it never happens to us, and I think that we need to check and hope for better condition for the race.
Just looking at the simulation you did today, how satisfied are you with the pace you're able to put down?
I think that we managed to get a good pace. Of course, at the moment we cannot compare with the top guys, but I think that for us was good lap times. We just have to figure out, like I said, the front feeling that cost us some tenth. But let's see if during the race we can really find that thing that we are missing.
Last two. Reason to be optimistic this year? Have your expectations grown throughout pre-season?
Yeah, I think that expectations are a bit better than last year, but we have to keep them low because we never know exactly what we're going to find during the race weekend. So at the moment we have no expectation and just try to do our best.
Last one, we've been asking every rider the question that all of the fans around the world are now asking as we look towards the first round of the year. Who do you think will be MotoGP World Champion in 2025?
I hope me, but if I need to put something on somebody, I will put on Mark.
Thank you very much, Fabio. Have a good year.
Thank you.
So Fabio Quartararo has put his prediction in for who's going to be the world champion at the end of this year. Well, the reigning world champion is in the Aprilia camp, and Paolo Bonora, their team manager, joins us now. Thanks very much for joining us, Paolo. You spoke to us at the mid part of the Sepang test, and of course at that point the winter testing program wasn't going great for Aprilia with 2 riders injured. As you speak to us now at the end of the second test, how much better is the mood in the Aprilia camp after what appears to have been a very positive test for you?
Yeah, for sure. After the Sepang injury, we had to redefine our plan. During the winter break, we had many things to test. So at the end, luckily, we did all the job. We luckily finished all our test plan, all our long test list, and. Yeah, for sure, Marco did a very great job. So he defined his base setup, electronically side and chassis side, and having Lorenzo Savadori here and in Sepang helped us a lot to define the all the parts that we can bring to Jorge. For sure. We are waiting Jorge because it is necessary to have his confirmation for sure, and it is necessary to bring to him for the first race the base setup for that we found during this winter, and we hope that during the first race he will find immediately the confidence with the bike. At the moment, his medical recovery plan is fully under control. Is finding during the day a better and better feeling. So we are looking forward to have him with us as soon as possible. To be fully honest with you, we will consider the first 4 races in the overseas as a test for Jorge, because, as you know, he lost the opportunity to test during Sepang and Buriram, and in MotoGP it is necessary to, when you jump from one bike to a new one, you have to find the confidence, and it will not be easy, but we will put all our energy to help him. We have seen that Marco immediately felt the confidence here in Buriram, so this gives to us more confidence to bring to Jorge a good bike.
The full story for Aprilia. You've done so well. I've had a few questions planned. You've ticked them all off as we've been speaking there. We have to let you go because we're waiting to hear from the former world champion Pecco Bagnaia. So thanks very much for coming and joining us. Best of luck for the first Grand Prix in Buriram, and thank you for joining us here on After the Flag. Paolo Bonora joining us live. We can now head live and hear from the 2022 and 23 world champion is Pecco Bagnaia with Jack.
Yeah, he is indeed, Pecco. Very patient there, as we heard the excellent words of Paolo Bonora. Pecco, it didn't look like a fun day yesterday. Was it better today?
Much better. This morning was more or less similar to yesterday, but finally we found the way, and we were able to work more on the details, and we did a very great step in front. So finally, I'm happy. The only bad things about today is that the only time attack I did in the last part of the session wasn't that good for other reasons. So, but luckily just a test. So apart that, I'm very happy. We were managing to be very fast and competitive in terms of pace with new stars, and we improved a lot also my feelings on the bike. So happy. The balance is positive. I think me and Mark we've done a very good test. So we are ready.
We heard from Davide earlier, confirmed to us that You're going to homologate the 2024 engine plus the 24 chassis. I imagine the 24 aero, given the fact you've done a lot of your work on it today. How content are you with those decisions?
I think it's the correct choice, finally. Not just because we know perfectly the GP24, but we understood that we have some kind of margin, so we can improve that engine. And we did today. So apart that, very happy. I did the top speed. That was along that I was doing the top speed. And like I said, the GP24 is a fantastic machine, and we are still improving on it.
The simulation you did today, did you start on used tyres? Talk us through.
No, I didn't do the simulation just because it was more important for me to find a way and finish the job, because yesterday I lost completely, more or less all the day. So today was to restart from zero, and I didn't have time to do it. But what I was doing was to do more laps as possible with used tires, and it wasn't that bad considering the amount of laps I was having on tires. So this is great.
Mark's race simulation was obviously very impressive. How does your pace on used tyres compare to that?
It's difficult to know, honestly. It's true that Mark in that moment looks in a better shape, because also yesterday he had the chance to work, he had the chance to feel okay on the bike, and I wasn't on the same situation yesterday, but it's very difficult to know and to makes a mix in terms of pace with runs and pace on race simulation. And what I want to say is that Mark did a very impressive lap times, was very fast, competitive, and when I was stopping and restarting was on the same level, but this is not a correct way to balance it.
Last two questions. After an up and down pre-season with a lot of decisions to make, how ready do you now feel for round one in a couple of weeks?
95% right now. I will find the last 5% in the race weekend.
And the last question, the big one that all the fans are asking, who do you think is going to be world champion in 2025?
Me, obviously.
Easy question, right?
I will do my maximum.
Pecco, good luck for 2025.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've learned enough over the last 2 or 3 years to not write off Pecco Bagnaia. It certainly feels that he's playing catch-up to Marc Marquez at this stage. He said himself there that Marc's a little bit stronger at the moment and has had a better testing run of it, but Pecco Bagnaia has shown on many a Grand Prix weekend over the years that he's been behind the 8 ball on a Friday and even on a Saturday, but when it comes to Sunday, the business end of the weekend, he delivers. But this, without question, the biggest challenge of Pecco Bagnaia's MotoGP career. Let's head back to Barcelona then and rejoin Elliot and Kiko as we continue the countdown to MotoGP 2025. Kiko, back to you.
It's going to be a spicy one, isn't it? And I loved Pecco being put on the spot there. I've got to say, I'm going to do that to you later. You've got time to think about it. Look what's come up. Pecco versus Marc. Remember back in after the flag? Whoa, seems like ages ago. Sepang day one. We talked about the stats. We talked about coming into this year. It's the dream team, da-da-da-da-da. Well, the talking stops now, but the analysis does continue. We've managed to put down all of the best laps from both riders in all the tests. Starting with Sepang, moving right the way through to Buriram, day 1 to day 2. What's very interesting is it's basically who won pre-season testing. Now, no one wins pre-season testing. That's why we go testing to see how it all pans out on track. But what's quite interesting is that Sepang, Pecco, more or less, seemed like he had the measurer mark. Not in Buriram.
Well, yeah, before Pecco's interview, this had less context to it. And this number here yesterday was especially eye-catching because we heard from Pecco yesterday.
Many problems.
He was not a happy bunny yesterday. Complete contrast to what we've just heard from there. So great to hear from Pecco before we got this graphic up. But this was a big number yesterday. We know Marc was feeling confident, feeling really happy. Pecco didn't have a good day. He experienced many issues, which is why he's not been able to go out and do a race sim today. Because if we had a race sim comparing Marc's rapid one today to Pecco, that would have been super interesting to see how they stacked up. So Pecco is obviously going to say he's on similar pace to Marc. He's not going to come out and say, yeah, I'm much slower. He's an honest guy, to be fair, so maybe he would do. But this is a bit more interesting for me than Sepang. Sepang, all about Marc, getting used to new surroundings.
Too many variables.
Getting used to two bikes, really, the GP24 and the GP25. Pecco's day yesterday, not a good one. Mark's a very good one. Again, Mark a very good day today, but if you judge him from lap times alone, okay, Pecco is half a second down from Mark. But what we've just seen, Pecco's 95% ready for the GP. He said, we are ready. That's a good warning shot to Mark, Ducati and all his rivals that, okay, you can judge me from the timesheets. I might be half a second down from Mark, but I'm there or thereabouts.
Question is, how ready is Marc Marquez? Well, he's ready to talk to us. He's there waiting with one of our journalists. Perhaps it's Jack Appleyard. Let's go over back to Buriram. How ready is Marc Marquez for 2025's challenge?
Well, Mark, it looked like the perfect way to finish off pre-season. Fastest on the timesheets, quite clearly fastest in that race simulation as well. You must feel pretty ready for the opening round of the year.
Yeah, it has been a very good pre-season, especially because we start already in a very good way from the first day in Malaysia. Then we keep working. We try many things on the bike, and yeah, all we had on the list. Sprint race simulation, long race simulation, okay, 3 laps, but was on the plan, do 23 laps, was done. So the most important also is that about the technical aspects, it's quite clear what we need. Still is there some new items that I need to understand well, but yeah, happy, and let's see, now looking forward to start the season.
It's been confirmed now that Ducati will homologate the 24 engine. You'll start the year on the 24 chassis and the 24 aerodynamics package as well. What's your reaction to that news?
Yeah, the most important was understand the engine. The engine was the main thing, because when you homologate will be for 2 years. So we decided to go to 2024 engine. Of course, they work in a very small details that yeah, we are trying to introduce step by step to that engine, and yeah, the chassis also is working. Basically, the 24 package is working very very good, but they start to introduce some new things that on the race we need to evaluate.
Let's look at the 2 highlights of today. Firstly, the time attack. You said yesterday there's always the risk. You're always push when you put that soft new tyre in. Was that the same story again today?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that I did my time attack on 12:30. That was already quite warm. So yeah, I feel good. It's true that yeah, on the first one I did a big mistake and I even broke the rim on the curb. And then for that reason, when I was coming on red, I just stopped in the box. But position is position. We start into 1 week and a half with 0 points everybody. So the most important is that we did all our job, and yeah, happy.
Yeah, I saw that big moment at turn 5, right, on the left. Did the front end just go a little bit?
No.
Was it later round?
Bigger moment.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
yeah.
Clearly you were
was
pushing
bigger
then.
on turn 8.
Okay, that race simulation, I have to ask you about. It was incredible, the rhythm that you're able to show over 23 laps. Obviously, you'll be pleased with that, but how much of a warning sign does that send to everybody else that Marc Marquez is ready to fight for victory at round 1?
I mean, of course, race weekend is different, and but on that race simulation is one of the most important points because you know, I was thinking to test my physical condition, to understand also this new bike, the 24, in a race simulation, and yeah, it was calm, I was smooth, no mistakes. Of course, the tires were dropping, but in a constant way. So yeah, I was able to manage, and I cannot say nothing. Just looking forward to start the season.
Final question, the one that all the fans are asking, with us looking ahead to the start of the championship now. Who do you think is going to be world champion in 2025?
I will not say. Of course, we will try to fight for it. But I know that I have a very strong teammate. I have a very strong housemate, my brother Alex, that he was super fast during all the preseason, and today also he finished second. So yeah, will be a different opponents. That can be Acosta. We will see how Martin can be with the Aprilia. Don't forget Martin. He's a very good rider, and Bezzecchi shows that Aprilia is working well. So try to do our job in our garage, and let's see what we can do.
Thanks, Mark. Have a good year.
Thank you.
Yeah, he didn't want to talk up his own chances too much there, did he? But surely Marc Marquez must feel uber confident ahead of the 2025 season. It feels incredible to think, doesn't it, that we are now going to be 6 years on from his last MotoGP title. The best chance, make no mistake, of him finally ending that wait. Well, it seems like Marc Marquez is pretty ready for the new season. You kind of get the feeling he's more ready than the duo at Tech 3. And Enea Bastianini joined us yesterday and accepted that he's still trying to ride that KTM like a Ducati. But how ready is his teammate? Earlier on, we caught up with Maverick Vinales.
Maverick, pre-season testing done, lots of laps, lots of work done. How is your adaptation going to the KTM?
Well, the adaptation is good. I mean, we are every day one step closer to the top KTM. It's not easy, for sure. It's a very different way of riding the bike. But however, the progression is there. So every time I feel better and better on the bike. And today we work on a long spring simulation. And then in the afternoon I did 2 flying laps to understand a little bit better the bike.
How satisfied are you with the work you and your team has done over the preseason, and how confident are you heading into the first race of the season?
I'm more satisfied in this test than in the previous one, because in this test I had enough time to understand more and more the bike, so this allowed me to ride faster. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot of motivation inside the team. The team works on a really good way. Especially we try the correct things. We try always to stay very focused on what we need to improve. And I think the first races will be an adaptation, so I need to be patient and keep believing in the process.
Yeah, what's your mindset heading into the first season? I guess you're not setting any particular goal, just keeping up the work, no, adapting to the bike.
The goal is especially to make a step forward every day. Today we did a big step forward, so that's my main target, day by day. You know, I don't want to put any place on my head because it's not realistic. Still, I need to understand more the bike and to be more on the limit every single lap.
And now that the preseason is done, we're asking all the riders, from what you've seen around from other riders, other teams, who do you think will win the World Championship this season?
It's too complicated to say, and it's early. I don't know. There is many names, and obviously favorite one are the red team, but we will see at the end of the year. You never know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Maverick Vinales, not a betting man. He's not exactly nearly as close to the mast just yet. Seems as if he's pretty confident that they're going to get there at KTM, but perhaps they're not where he wants to be just yet. Well, let's keep it Tech 3 and switch across to his teammate and head over live now to hear from Enea Bastianini. How ready is he for his first season in KTM Orange?
Yeah, that's right. From the Top Gun to the Beast, from one Tech 3 rider to another. Enea, it's been a challenging pre-season, 5 days of a lot of work, a lot of laps. At the end of it, what are your emotions like?
Yeah, we did a lot of work during that 5 days, starting from Malaysia to here. But, well, to be honest, it's been very, very complicated, especially at the start, but also here when we arrived, we have tried to do something on the bike, but at the end, the massive is I have to do something on the bike to modify a bit my riding style. And, well, this afternoon we are improved, but I think I'm not ready for the moment to fight for the race, for the position of what I want. But it's like this. We try to improve lap by lap and race by race.
At the end of the test here in Thailand, do you feel any better than you did at the start?
Yeah, exactly. I did it something better. Also today the lap time has been more or less not bad, no. But well, I need time because I suffered when I tried to do my riding style on the bike, and it's important to learn. Pedro is at the moment the best rider of KTM. From the data we can see very well what he does, and I have to change.
How difficult is it to change?
Yeah, a lot, because you have something in your mind, but you have to reset. During that 2 days has been difficult because we have tried many things, and at the end probably for the race will be much better because the bike will be this one. We have bring a decision, and I can work very well on the setup.
Just finally, we're asking all of the riders the question that is on everyone's lips now that pre-season is finished. Who do you think will be world champion in 2025?
Yeah, difficult to say. I think Pecco, but during that winter test, Marquez is stay really impressive. But Pecco in the race, it's very fast.
Thanks, Anaya.
Thank you.
And Bastianini there, who I think would wish that pre-season testing was a little bit longer than it is. Well, we have heard from both tech-free riders as to just how ready they are for the new season. Two people who are definitely ready for 2025, already with still 2 weeks to go. Elliot York and Kiko Giles. Back to you guys at HQ.
Oh, just out from under the bubble. Look what's back with us. Elle's waiting to leave already. Don't worry about that. We spoke about Ducati earlier. We spoke a little bit about KTM earlier. We didn't really speak about Honda and Yamaha, though, El. Interesting that Honda able, on a short basis at least, to get ahead of Fabio and Yamaha.
Yeah, so just to bookmark this slightly, Fabio's worst lap was a 130.9. His next worst was 130.5. So something happened on that lap, made a slight mistake somewhere, lost half a second. So this is slightly out of place, you feel. It would probably be just quicker than Mir and closer to Bezzecchi. So I'd place Fabio somewhere in the middle of Honda and Aprilia in terms of sprint pace. But Mir's sprint was very impressive. Comparing it to last year in the 2024 Thai GP sprint race, a 131.2 was Mir's average. A 130.2 was his average today. So 0.9 seconds quicker, more or less. Obviously, conditions changeable. In a sprint, it's different because you're battling with other riders, but that's a very, very good progress from Honda. Highlighted earlier as well that they're much happier with the package. And this was really good from Mir. To be within 0.2 of Bezzecchi's pace, who we have touted highly, who we've spoken about really highly. Performers. And Aprilia is obviously a better bike than the Honda at the minute. That was really impressive, as we saw from Mir earlier.
But these are just lap times. So how do we relate that testing and what we're learning here in testing to a situation that's actually more relevant in the race? Something like where we see race simulations, something where perhaps this average race winning lap time is a little bit higher, but why?
Well, because, I mean, the 2023 race, for example, was a barnstormer, and one of the best races of the year. Martin, Pecco, Binder, all going for it in the victory race. And look, you can draw some conclusions from this. As we said earlier, the 2024/2025 Ducati is a big step, as we saw last year from the GP23 that Martin won with in 2023. But it's impressive that he's a second under on a bike. He's still learning, Marc Marquez. So we can draw some conclusions. Not many. We can't fully leap towards this is where they are, this is how much better they are. It's just to give a bit of context to progression and comparing it to everyone else and where they've been previously. So it's definitely still interesting to dive into. That's why we've done it. And we've enjoyed going into the lap times to see where all the manufacturers and riders place. Obviously, comparing it to 2023, it isn't ideal, but it just gives you a sense of contrast and comparison to where they were to where they are now.
And of course, variables such as weather conditions, fuel load, tyres, rider, how long has been spent on that bike, they're all huge things. But more on that a bit later. I think it's back to the circuits now. Lewis, waiting in the dark of Thailand and the dark of Buriram. He's just there. Look, his T-shirt's blending straight into the scenery.
Thanks very much, Kiko. We'll be back with you guys. Perhaps we can twist your arms into making some pre-season predictions before we go off the air. Well, one man who's never short of an opinion or two is Jack Miller, who, of course, has made the switch over from the orange of KTM to the blue and purple of Prima Pramac Yamaha, which we're just about getting into the habit of saying now in 2025. How's his winter gone, and how ready does he feel for his first season back at Pramac? Here's Jack Miller speaking a few moments ago.
Jack, pre-season testing done. How satisfied are you with your adaptation to the Yamaha, and how satisfied are you with the work done?
Yeah, really satisfied, honestly. No, I feel comfortable, bike's working well. I feel like we've tried it in many different configurations and kind of found which is working for us. I mean, the adaptation to a different track was pretty quick. And yeah, I feel pretty comfortable going into racing. Obviously, we've got some areas to work on to be challenging with the guys in the front. But anyway, we're on the way.
How confident are you ahead of the first race of the season?
Yeah, I'm optimistic. Let's say that. I think we can do a good job. We'll wait and see. I think for racing, we have a fantastic bike. You know, in my sprint run, I was pretty happy with my pace and so on this afternoon. So the bike seems to be working well in the temperature. Yeah, I think the team's done a fantastic job getting used to the Yamaha. Obviously, it's a big change for them as well, but we'll see. I'm keen to come back here in 10 days and get going.
And from what you've seen around from other riders, other teams, who do you think is the favorite going into the season for the World Championship?
I think the red team's going to be hard to beat at this point. Obviously, with Mark and Pecco, two extremely, I guess you could say, strong championship contenders. I mean, both of them have won many championships and look really strong. The bike is, I mean, I don't know what the situation is going on over there in their camp, but anyway, they haven't showed us everything, I don't think, and it's scary because they're already so quick.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Cheers.
Yeah, Jack Miller can, I think, count himself pretty happy with how his winter has gone. He's been pretty competitive relative to Fabio Quartararo, has to be said, at this test as well. Let's get a line from Honda before we go. We've already heard from Honda HRC Castrol's team manager, Alberto Puig. Now let's hear from their world champion. Let's hear from Joan Mir live with Jack.
Joan, the end of what's been, I think, quite a pleasing pre-season for Honda. It's obvious that steps have been made. Was today a day where you're able to put everything together and showcase what Honda's level will be?
Yes, well, honestly, we have to be very happy, no? We put a bit everything together here, what we have in the last day, and we were able to be competitive. So that is fantastic, no? It's the first time I think that the time here that I'm able to be like this, as competitive as now. So we have to be super happy. This is the team also has to be happy. It's the reward. This test means nothing, but means a lot also, no? Because the work that they've done is something that then when you put on track, the only way to see if you make a good job is if we improve and if we are fast. And actually, I'm surprised, honestly, about what we've been able to do in this day. And you know, I think that we arrived well prepared, but also a race weekend is not. Is a different story, I would say. So we still have a couple of weak points, but the weak points that we have are pretty big. So we have to continue working.
Steps have obviously been made in the time attack. You're quite a bit more competitive there. But today's sprint simulation, is that the most pleasing thing to come out of today? That was fast.
Yeah. Yes, honestly, after the sprint simulation, the work was done. We could finish the test, but at the end we put a new tire. We just put a new tire today, and just make one time attack at the end. And the last time was not bad. It's true that in the first two sectors we lose a lot. Then in the last two, not so much, because they are more corner speed and this stuff. So it means that we are getting closer. It's true that the engine is still not there, and this thing can be also a problem, because in a race weekend and during a race, you have to defend yourself with horsepower, no? And this is something that we will not be able to do if they don't bring something. So yeah, it's like I said, we don't have many weak points, but the one that we have are pretty big.
Last year, the the big weakness you had was rear chatter, also the ability to look after the tyres during the longer race. Is those two areas where you think Honda have made big improvements and have really touched on those areas?
The vibration is still there. Despite the improvement that we've made, the vibration is still there and it's still a problem. It allowed me to, probably the vibration is more far, you can go a little bit faster, but still there. So it's something that we must, is priority at the moment.
Last two, first round now only 2 weeks away. Do you feel ready?
Yes, I feel probably more ready than what I expected, because I expected nothing, honestly. I just arrived here with the conviction that we can make a good testing, but the truth is that we are closer than what we expect. So let's see what we can do. For sure, if we are able to fight for the top 10, that will be amazing.
And the last one, the question on every fan's lip: who's going to be world champion in 2025?
Who's going to be 25 world champion? I think that Mark will be. Yeah.
Thanks, Johan. Have a great year.
Thank you.
Straight answer to a straight question from Joan Mir. He's tipping Marc Marquez to make it MotoGP title number 7 this season. Of course, Honda looking to try and clamber into that chasing pack that are snapping at the heels of the defending Constructors' champions Ducati. Whereabouts are KTM going to sit in that chasing pack? Will they indeed be leading that chasing pack? Let's get some post-test thoughts from their lead rider, Brad Binder.
Brad, the end of pre-season, how has the Buriram test gone for you? First time to catch up throughout it.
Yeah, it went by really quickly. Yesterday was cool. We started off at a really good level. Everything felt a little bit better than last time we were here for sure. So in general, I feel like we've made some small steps. I think I need to work on my all-out time attacks a little bit. I'm still missing a bit of pace there for sure. But other than that, I think today was quite successful. We did what we wanted to in the morning, did a long run this afternoon, and all in all, I can't complain. I think we're finding our way slowly but surely, and let's put everything together for when we come back in a couple of weeks.
The long run that you did, how satisfied were you with that?
It was okay. Not fantastic, but I don't think it was too bad at all. I think it was more just to understand what tyres we need to use for the next time we're here for the Grand Prix.
Obviously, last time we were here, you were the top non-Ducati, 13.5 seconds adrift in the sprint. How much of those 13.5 seconds do you think you found?
At the moment, we're definitely closer, that's for sure. I think, maybe in time attack I was a little bit off, but I think when it comes down to pace over many laps in a row, we're definitely closer than we were last time we were here. So, let's see next 10 days when we're here, and I think we're ready to make a good step.
That's it, 2 weeks away from the opening round now. How ready do you feel for it?
I'd say we were about 80% there. I think the last 20 is just really putting things together now, really understanding everything. And when you're testing like today, you don't always put together the perfect package. You need to almost keep it the same to try different things. So we have the opportunity now to put it all together and see where we are.
And we'll see in a couple of weeks exactly where KTM are. Brad Binder, their lead rider last year. Will he still be their lead rider at the end of 2025? Well, 5 days of official testing have now concluded. So who have been the busiest riders over the course of 5 days of running? To crunch the numbers, we can rejoin Elliot and Kiko.
Well, I'll tell you who's been busiest on and off track. That's Aprilia reflected here, look. 420 laps from Iagura. Welcome to MotoGP, And Marco Bezzecchi's been flying the flag for the factory Aprilia team, 420 as well. They've been the shortest staffed team on track, and somehow they've topped the lap charts. Absolutely remarkable the work, and it's paying off.
Well, it just highlights how much work Bezzecchi has done. Obviously, Agura, a rookie, Chancellor on the list as well, not too far off Agura's lap times. you'd understand that from a rookie's point of view. They need as many laps as possible to get up to speed. But for Bez, Martin's done less than 100 laps in pre-season, including the Barcelona test, coupled with his 14 laps in Sepang. So the workload has been on Bez. We've already mentioned it numerous times in this show, and that just goes to show, obviously, Maverick getting used to the new KTM. He loves testing. He loves putting in the mileage. And Binder obviously doing a lot of work for KTM as their most experienced rider. So, yeah, interesting to see it sort of in graphics to sort of pinpoint how much work Bezzecchi especially has done for Aprilia with a lot of workload, most of the workload on his shoulders.
2 rookies in there as well. Somkiat Chantra in the top 5 there, 396 laps. Let's hear from the Thai sensation. It's been a baptism of fire for sure, but he's getting there.
For me, today is a second day for test in Buriram, and also today in the morning we also try some time attack in the morning, and also what on the way was quite good. Also, like I expect yesterday. And also we was try also with the user tire to check how is my press can go, and also was not bad. And also in afternoon also I will have some long run, and also we will try do the good place also.
After all the testing here in Buriram and in Sepang, do you feel that you're 100% adapted to the MotoGP bike?
Yeah, now I can say was 99%. It's now we was have a best bike, but if I say my body now is like 80, I'm not ready 100%. I must to put maybe more power and also more weight on with to riding a MotoGP bike. And yeah, now when we finish the today, I'm go back home and I must to prepare my body before the weekend in Thailand.
Yeah, home is where the heart is for Somkiat Chantra. He will make his MotoGP debut here in a couple of weeks' time. The Thai Grand Prix will be the Thai sensation's first in MotoGP. Let's hear from his teammates as well before we go. Earlier on, we caught up with the Frenchman Johan Zarco.
It was anyway so nice to be back on the MotoGP bike and every lap go over the 330 kilometers per hour, which is an adrenaline that we cannot have nowhere else than on a MotoGP bike. And the global package, I'm controlling it better than last year, so I can use the bike attack when I need, and I think this can give me an opportunity to fight for the top 10 when the season will begin. But clearly then all what we have tried did not bring this breath that we needed. We are still struggling on similar points. Even if we can do things better, we still don't have the big things that say, yeah, now it's working well and we will fight on the top. So we need to be patient and wait still a bit. It seems the time attack is something that we are capable to do better than last year, and as I say, with the experience also we know each other with the team better, so we can use this opportunity for Q2 and better qualifying this year. But then for the race pace, it seems it's pretty hard to maintain the pace, so that's why I hope I can improve the qualifying to get chance for the races, and the pace will come, I think, during the season.
The big area of improvement that needs to come from speaking to you guys, the riders, from Alberto, is obviously the engine. Have you been given a timeline on when an updated version might come throughout this year?
No, I don't want to know. I let this job to the engineer, and I try to perform as well as possible as a rider, and that's more than enough.
So Johan Zarco, of course, heading into his second season with LCR. Well, let's get some final thoughts then. They've been working hard for us, slaving away back in Barcelona to give us their analysis. Let's get some final pre-season thoughts and maybe a prediction or two. One last time, let's rejoin Elliot and Kiko.
Right, where's the fence to go and sit on? Because this is going to be a tough one. Lewis, thanks for throwing us under the bus there. Oh, what a pre-season. I can't believe I'm saying it because normally pre-season's a little bit drab and a bit dry, but it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, starting from day one in Sepang, Jorge Martin getting injured, like hugely dramatic. Dijan Antonio, Raul Fernandez, of course. We've seen Fernandez, thankfully, back in testing duties in Buriram, but I mean, just drama aplenty on day one. Such a shame that Martin was injured because we have seen what the potential is for Aprilia with Marco Bezzecchi. It would have been great to see the number one, see how close he was to the Ducatis, and of course, the story of the test, really. Pecco versus Marc Marquez. It's been super interesting, but I think we all just want to get racing now.
Looking forward to Thailand?
Absolutely buzzing. It's I love Thailand. It's one of the best ones of the year. Fans are amazing. The track's amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to get there.
Going to sit next to me on the plane?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, not enough.
It's not my
business,
choice. So.
Not in business class. Look, guys, we can't wait to go racing. Thailand, 22 rounds of 2025. They begin over in Buriram. Just before we do go, a huge thanks to everyone here working the long hours in Barcelona MotoGP HQ, because it has been a huge effort to bring MotoGP, that new identity, faster, forward, fearless, all of the launch events, the team launches, all of the after the flags, a lot of work. You've have seen the new graphics. They look absolutely magnificent. But of course, a special shout out to the makeup lady for making this man look how he does. I don't know how she's done it. She nearly ran off on her first day.
Yeah, top job.
That's enough from all of us. Back to you guys at the track. See you in Thailand.
See you there, although if Elliot has his way, Kiko will be strapped to the wings for the flight out here to Buriram. Final thoughts then before we go. They've had their pre-season thoughts. How do we see the 2025 MotoGP season panning out? Is it fair to say, as far as the champion's concerned, it's between two?
Yes. Pre-season hasn't gone to plan for Ducati. That's obvious. Nearly all of the items that they've brought have been unanimously rejected by their two riders. But putting that to one side, they're still the red-hot favourites to win the World Championship this year. Either Marc Marquez or Pecco Bagnaia should win the MotoGP World Championship this year. The big question is, which one of them will it be?
Pecco Bagnaia loves a challenge. Make no mistake, he's got it in 2025. 15 days from now, the season will be up and running. The first competitive action of the new season. So many questions will finally be answered. Is this the year that Honda climb off the canvas? Is this the year that Fabio Quartararo leads Yamaha back into the podium conversation? Can KTM's generational talent Pedro Acosta become a MotoGP winner? Will Jorge Martin defend the one with Aprilia, or will it be snatched back into the hands of Ducati and their dream team, Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez? We cannot wait to get started. 22 will start. Only one will end the year as MotoGP World Champion. The chase is on.
For the nail biters and the overnighters. For the finger peepers and the thrill seekers. For those born on two wheels and those used to more. For the race day countdown and the final sprint. For the fair weather fans. For the flag to flag obsessed. For the legacy viewers. And tomorrow's newcomers. For the try this at homers. For the podium celebrators. And the sofa-seated faithfuls.
Red flags cleared at the front. Green flag clears at the back. Lights out, we are racing in MotoGP here. This is MotoGP at its very best.
For the chase.
What a move that was! Can you believe it? How much more drama?
For the win. For for all of us.
It is pure magic.
MotoGP. Faster, forward, fearless.